Discussion today is going to be about IP issues to avoid in online advertising and social media. Just because it's online doesn't mean it's okay to use it. And we struggle with this all the time, whether it's photographs or music or text. There's a tendency among people to think that because something is online, it's available for use for free. That's certainly not the case, and assuming that something is for free is a good way to get into some trouble. Photographs are actually an area where this has been a tremendous issue, and specifically with the unauthorized use of photographs on websites and social media. I saw last week, actually, that a law firm got sued for using a photograph on its website without authorization from the photographer. So, this is something that happens. It happens to everybody, no matter how big, how small, or who you are. The other reason it's significant is because over the past few years, the vast majority of copyright infringement cases that have been filed in the United States have been over improper use of photographs. So this is really something to watch out for and be careful about. Hashtags are means of identifying the subject of a particular message or a photograph that are when they're posted on social media. And it typically takes the form of the pound sign followed by some kind of descriptive word or phrase. And the difficulty here is not to use hashtags that suggest an association with somebody else. I have a good example if we get to the next slide. This is from a case that is actually still pending in the Southern District of New York. It's been dragging on, at least in part due to COVID. But in this case, Chanel sued a company called What Goes Around Comes Around, which was offering used Chanel product on their website. And they even offered certificates of authenticity. And one of the things that What Goes Around Comes Around was doing, it's a little bit hard to see, but if you look at the red circle on the slide, you can see there's a hashtag WGACA Chanel. And when Chanel brought the lawsuit, one of their several claims was that because of those hashtags, people would think that there was some kind of association or some kind of endorsement by Chanel of What Goes Around Comes Around. What Goes Around Comes Around filed a motion to dismiss that claim, and the court said, no, we're not going to dismiss it. So that claim is at least viable. The court recognizes that there's a possibility that there's liability there. There has not yet been a ruling on this, so we don't know if the court will actually find liability because of it. So we're waiting to see what happens with that. But again, this is an area that should be pretty easy to control and to be careful with hashtags that are being used on social media postings. Own your own brand. What does that mean? That means if you have somebody else do something for you, design a logo, take a photograph, create content, make sure that you have them sign something transferring all the rights to your company. You don't want to be in a situation where you don't have that piece of paper and whoever you've hired comes back 3 or 4 years later and says, great, you're doing terrific. I created that for you and you owe me some money and your business is doing gangbusters so you can afford to pay me. Nobody likes to do that when they hire somebody. Nobody likes to have that piece of paper signed because it just doesn't seem right. It doesn't sit well. Trust me, you want that piece of paper signed. Attorneys like handling litigations. but nobody else ever really likes being involved in them. So one way to stay out of them is to make sure that you own everything. And we can certainly help with preparing those documents if anybody needs that help. Celebrities don't do things for free. We can take a look at the example on this, and I can explain a little bit about what was going on here. This is from a case that was filed actually in April this year in California State Court in Los Angeles. It's still pending, but what happened here was a third party whose name I forget made a video game, an app that you could download for your devices. And the concept of the game was you can be a celebrity. You can be, in this case, Selena Gomez. They have a bunch of other celebrities. And the game was you can dress the celebrity, you can date other celebrities. Basically, you could live your fantasy and be a celebrity. And the image on the left is an image from the game that was being used, and Selena Gomez found out about this and objected by suing. And it's, to me at least, it's pretty clear where that image came from, because it looks to me like it's literally the mirror image of the image on the right. So, she found out about this, filed a lawsuit as a fair use, and on the same facts, another court may find it that it's not a fair use. It's very, very fact dependent, and it's, to some extent subjective. So, you can argue it and go from there, but fair use makes me nervous just because there's no certainty. How do you stay out of trouble? And, certainly what I found from looking at these different issues and just practice in general, it's really a question of using common sense. If you wouldn't want somebody using your thing in a particular way, it's probably a fair guess that they wouldn't want you using it in that way either. It's really abide by the golden rule, do unto others as you would have do to you.